Hi, welcome to the Public Works Pipeline. I'm your host, Commissioner Mike McKeon. I'm the chair of the Lower Merion Public Works Committee, and normally I host the Public Works Pipeline. Today, though, you're in for a real treat. We're doing something different, and we're flipping the script a little bit, as my daughters, Ava and Alyssa, are actually going to host the show, and I'm going to sit here as the victim and try to answer some of these questions. So Alyssa is going to be your first host today.
Hi, my name is Alyssa. I am studying psychology at Temple, and this fall I will be a junior. Welcome to my show, Mike. I'm glad you could make it. And why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background?
Well, thank you, Alyssa, for having me on the show today. I'm a commissioner in Lower Merion. I'm the only commissioner who actually grew up in Lower Merion. I grew up on the mean streets of Penn. And I'm not going to give the exact address because I wouldn't want that to turn into a shrine of sorts, but just a couple childhood photos that I just was somehow able to drudge up. First one's a picture of my brother Kevin and I, and we're playing, getting ready to play baseball. See, I played RV baseball, which was Rosemont Villanova Little League, because Lower Merion at the time didn't have a Little League, and you and Ava both got to play Little League softball, so we didn't have that opportunity. Second photo here, that's my brother and I with my grandparents on my mom's side, and we're in military fatigues, and I think we have toy guns. I'm not sure if that's Halloween or if that was just the way we kind of rolled, because it was sort of the Transformers G.I. Joe generation. And then the last one, I wanted to make sure I shamed my brother, so that's Kevin talking to his stuffed raccoon on our porch in Penn. But now I'm a lawyer in Philadelphia. I left the area, came back to raise a family. I thought this is a great place to grow up, great place to raise a family. I got involved with the neighborhood club of Ballackinwood. Was a Little League commissioner. We had a lot of great memories. I thought you, Ava, Alyssa, May, Mommy, playing Little League in Lower Merion. So I was a Little League commissioner, and then now I was demoted or whatever. Now I'm a township commissioner. So, but I like getting involved with the community. So those have been nice kind of family ways to stay involved.
That's great. And as a commissioner, what do you do?
Excellent question. I'm glad you asked that. So under the Pennsylvania Township Code, there are townships of the first class, townships of the second class, and also home rule charter townships. I'm not sure if you're familiar with all the nuances there, but
no.
Okay, I can tell you. Basically, the township of the first class is divided into wards, and within those, each ward has a commissioner for it. If we were a township of the second class, you would have a board of supervisors instead of commissioners, and those are typically at large. So you could have all 6 commissioners from the same area. So the reason I explain that is because what's nice about Lower Merion with First Class Township is that each ward has its own commissioner. So basically there's somebody to look out for each neighborhood, and that's a big part of it. Is you've got specific residents, and you're really the only one to sit there as a liaison between the residents and the community to talk about things. So we do a budget, we work with the police and fire. Our top charge is really the safety of all the residents, and again, our main role, we meet usually about at least 3 times a month or so, and the idea is to look out for your ward, but you're also a commissioner for the whole township, and you want to do what's really in the best interest for the whole township.
That's nice.
Oh, and I should have said, so my ward includes all of Belmont Hills, so I'm the only commissioner for Belmont Hills, half of Penn Valley, and then the College Park, where we live, College Park section of Ballackinwood, which is like a small part overall of Ballackinwood.
Well, summer is paving time. How does the township's paving program work?
Well, let me read and see what it says here. Now, so the township paving, it's an annual program, and the township has a list that staff puts together for streets that it determines are rated for paving work. So they do their analysis, send it to the Board of Commissioners. Commissioners add streets, remove streets, or keeps the streets on there. And then around late July or so, the paving usually begins. We wait for school to be out, so that way the traffic isn't that bad. And the idea is that if you can, to try to finish everything by the time school starts again in September. This year, Alan Myers is doing most of the paving work. There's been a lot of work on Conshohocken State Road and Montgomery Avenue, and then hopefully we're going to work from the east part of the township where we live to the western part of the township, and then try to get everything done. And a lot of the paving funds come from the liquid fuels tax, which is part of the gas tax. So when you're paying more and more money for gas and everything, the good thing is some of that money actually comes back to us because that's used to go and pay back the roads that we're all driving on.
Well, that's good because I've paid a lot
Yeah.
for gas recently.
Well, you drive like hundreds and hundreds of miles.
That is
every
also
week.
true. Well, let's talk a little trash. What can you tell everyone about the Public Works refuse, the collection department?
What if I refuse to talk to you about refuse?
Then I guess they'll never know.
All right. Well, maybe I guess I should answer
Should
the
inform them.
question, and everything. So, trash is collected once a week on trash day. Recycling is every other week. 1 week it's commingled. The other week it's paper that's picked up on trash day. The idea is too that the people used to have trash cans that were like 100 gallons or so, really heavy. There's a 50-pound limit per trash can, or 48 gallons. That's done because if you ever see trash get collected, there's actually a person who has to go and lift it up. So if you leave 100-pound of stuff in the trash, that can hurt somebody's back. So there's a 50-pound limit, 48 gallons. There's trash day, but there's no trash time. So your trash is picked up between 7 a.m. and 3:30 p.m. I would just say once the trash gets picked up, if you see the trash can on the street, maybe take it out to the curb. Yeah, maybe you or your sister could do that, because if you live on a street like we do, people will throw junk in the trash cans if you leave them out. And actually, you're supposed to have them back by 9 p.m. on the evening of trash collection anyway. Also, too, for recycling, right, cardboard, the Amazon boxes, they go out with paper. The other stuff commingled, plastic, glass, bottles. And Lower Merion has its own public works department. Some boroughs or townships that are a little smaller, they actually outsource it. But our own employees take care of everything.
That's good for us. Speaking of recycling, I have about this many, maybe a few more, empty water bottles in my bedroom. What do you suggest that I could do with all of these?
Well, I guess the idea is we want to stop using them if we can. So these things, these plastic bottles can take up to 450 years to decompose in a landfill. So we can't really just get rid of them like that, unfortunately. Even now they're saying that the rainwater is unsafe to drink because of all the little particles and things that have gone in there from plastics and a lot of the other manufacturing. So what you want to use, I think a lot of good families have like a Brita filter, which we don't have, but a water filter is a good way, because or even just drinking tap water. We have very good tap water in our area. Some parts of Pennsylvania, like the coal regions and stuff, where the other side of the family's from, and the anthracite coal area, that ground's not in the best of shape. But our water is actually very clean, so you can drink it from the tap. You can drink it through a filter. You don't have to keep drinking the water bottles. But I know we got a lot in our family. So.
We do have a lot of water bottles, but we just don't use them as often.
Yeah, I also half-drank water bottles. Why don't you drink everything in the water bottle?
I give some to Chetette.
Okay. Who is
my
Cheddar?
leopard gecko?
Yeah.
But we're getting into the fall soon, and we're going to see a lot of leaves starting to pile up. My pop in Maryland, he likes to burn them in the backyard. Is that something that we can do to get rid of the leaves here?
No, that's a great question. I'm glad we can continue to assault my in-laws with these questions. What your grandfather does, if he did that in Lower Merion, that would be illegal. Maybe illegal in Maryland, I don't know. I'm not going to call the ATF or anybody, but it's illegal to burn leaves in Lower Merion. It's also illegal to rake the leaves into the street. So what you want to do is get a rake the leaves, put them in a brown, one of those biodegradable leaf bags. You can get them at a local hardware store. Do you know what a local hardware store is?
Not me.
Yeah, they don't really have them anymore. The Keiko Complex also has them too, or maybe you go to a larger box retailer to get them, but put them in the leaf bags, and then they go out with the regular trash on trash day, and they are actually composted. I know there's a big conspiracy. A lot of I've been asked a few times, where are these leaves going? What are you doing with the leaves? The leaves go to the Waverly Complex in Gladwin. It's about 17 acres or so where they're composted. You can actually see it from the expressway.
Highway, right?
I pointed out to you a
Okay.
few times. It's not like no one's making it up. They actually it does exist. So they're composted, and it's a nice process for it.
And you mentioned the Keiko Complex. What exactly is that?
Oh my God, I should have said that, what that was exactly. So that's a dump or the transfer station. Most municipalities don't actually have their own dump. Lower Merion, we're kind of fortunate. We have this transfer station. It's where waste is basically transferred. It's 1300 North Woodbine Avenue, and it's basically right in between Belmont Hills and Penn Valley. So it's actually in my ward too. And Lower Merion Township residents can go there, and you can get rid of your recycling. You can drop off for free. Brush and compost you can drop off for free. And trash you can drop off, but it does get weighed. But if you have extra trash, you can always drop it off there.
And what are the hours for the Keiko Complex? Can you just go?
I have no idea. I don't know why these questions are coming out of nowhere here with this hit piece on things. I don't know why Public Works Committee, I'm supposed to understand all this about that. Well, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday to Friday, and then 9 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. on Saturday. It's closed on Sunday, but you got 6 days out of the week to get there.
Alrighty. And are there any big upcoming events for the Public Works, like dance party?
There will not be a Public Works dance party this year. There hasn't been one in the past either. I don't know if we're going to try to do one. Yeah, it is. But good news, there's what they call Free Dump Day or Free Dump Weekend. That's for Lower Merion Township residents, and that's October 1st to 2nd of this year, coming up for the fall, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. So we do have one free dump weekend coming up, and there'll be two in the spring typically. And there's also a household hazardous waste disposal day too. You must pre-register in advance, okay, just so you know. But that's October 23rd of this year. So in the fall, we have a couple nice upcoming events.
All right, and for our final question of this segment, what is the status of the Belmont Road widening project?
Okay, so that's a kind of question that could take about 30 minutes to answer, so I'll give you the 45-second version. Yeah, this is about 20 years in the making. It's a project to basically widen a part of Belmont Avenue when you get onto the expressway. To go into Philadelphia, there's a trestle there. So that would have to get moved. A bridge would have to be knocked down, a couple others have to be put up. So it's a complicated project that's cost almost $40 million. The township is only paying for the design of it, and state and federal funding should cover everything else. But we have no construction date at this time, and the designs, we're still finalizing them. So this was a project that started well before I was a commissioner, and it's going to be completed, I think, long after I fade away at some point.
Well, we've run out of time for our first segment. Thank you, Mike, and be sure to be right back after these messages. Welcome back to Public Works Pipeline. I'm your host for the next 12 minutes, Ava. I'm recently a graduate from Lower Merion High School, and I also am a pet sitter, so if you ever need one, I'm in the Lower Merion area. So let's cut to the chase. Can we get a restaurant like ChickfilA on Rock Hill Road?
It's an excellent question. I'm glad you asked it. Rock Hill Road is, as you may know, it's part of the Rock Hill Road Special Zoning District.
Yes.
So it's its own sort of special zoning. And per the RHR, drive-throughs are not permitted for food or beverage locations. So one of the issues you have there is that if a new facility is to go in, it can't have a drive-through. And that's done because the idea is you want to prevent like a traffic jam on Rock Hill Road as cars are going into and out of it. So there was a new pizza shop that opened that doesn't have a drive-through.
Yeah.
So there could be a ChickfilA or some other kind of similar restaurant, but they wouldn't be able to have a drive-through.
Okay, well, I guess we'll have to work things out with that. Okay, so what can we do about the bright street light across the street from our house? It really shines in through my window at night, keeping me up.
Yes, so we're on Conshohocken State Road. There's
Yes.
a bright light across the street. So the township, through Public Works, and its electrical division, that's in charge of public street lights. Okay. So if a street light is too bright, the township can look into it and put what they call a shield that actually blocks or directs the light a little bit. So the good news is some of those lights, you can actually reduce the impact on neighbors who live close by. But where we are, that's a sidewalk that's heavily traveled. It's a major road, so the lighting is pretty important. So I don't know if the needs for your stupid little bedroom outweigh the needs for the rest of the community to be safe. So it's like kind of a long shot to get the shield. So really sorry.
May have to get just a shield on my window then.
Yeah, you can pay for that.
Block the light out.
Yeah.
So I'm very interested about what's going on with that huge hole behind Jones Street.
Oh, yeah, excellent question.
Yeah.
Did you bring your copy of the capital improvement plan with you?
I did not.
Okay. Now, Jody won't be happy, but so that's
Sorry,
part of
Jody.
Yeah, CIP project 4452. It's a Croyle Rec area, and that's an interesting project that I knew nothing about until I became commissioner. But there's a big hole in the ground basically behind Jones Street and Leadham in Belmont Hills. And for decades, Public Works has been using it as what they call a clean fill site, where they've been dumping dirt from projects across the township into it. And the idea is at some point there's going to be enough there where it's actually completely filled in and it's going to be turned into a park. So it's really interesting where you're able to basically create a park where there wasn't one by moving all this dirt. I think a lot of just good foresight with it.
Yeah.
It started way before I was a commissioner. It's nowhere close to being done as far as I can tell, so I will not be the person who sees it through, but hopefully somebody else sees it through and it turns into a nice park for the community.
Yeah, I hope it does. I mean, maybe a new dog park. Take
Perhaps,
the dogs too.
and I know you go messing around Jones Street now and then, so maybe you'll see what it
sometimes
turns
I'll be
into.
back in there. Almost fell down the hole once. Okay.
I'm not sure about that.
My educators failed me and never taught me about solid waste fund in school. Can you please succeed where others failed and educate me on the subject?
Well, I wasn't expecting the Spanish Inquisition from you today, but yeah, the solid waste fund, it's what we call like the trash fee. Mm-hmm. So it's an enterprise fund, which I'm sure you know what that is, right?
Yeah.
Right. That's a self-funded fee.
Yes.
So it's self-funded from user fees. So we get that every year. That's how you pay you have a subscription for the trash that you have that gets picked up by Public Works. It hasn't been raised in the last couple of years. One of the reasons it has not gone up is we're actually getting more money for our recycling again. Recycling is rebounded, especially with paper recycling. So the Finance Committee, which is chaired by Commissioner Zelov, they will meet and come up with some proposals about how to handle solid waste for next year, and then the full Board of Commissioners will vote on it. But you should be receiving subscription letters in November, and then the new fee, which may be the same fee, whatever it is, that'll be effective in January 2023.
And how much is the fee?
We don't know yet. We have to have these meetings in November. My gosh, I don't know how many times I have to keep telling this to you. But so once we have the meetings, then you get the letter, right? And then there's the fee that you have to pay.
Now let's see. What are some good places in Lower Merion that maybe you suggest for dogs?
For dog parks or taking dogs? Okay.
Yes, walking.
There's a few really nice places in the township. There's one that's like this big, high kind of rolling hill.
The Rock Hill.
The Rolling Hill Park.
The Rock Hill Road Park?
No, the Rolling Hill Dog Park.
Oh.
What do you think of the Rolling Hill Dog Park? Right, you take our dog there a lot.
It's nice. They have a nice fenced-in area for dogs if your dog wants to go off leash, and they may run from you. So there's fenced-in area for that, and there's also a nice trail if you want to go on the trail. It's a little difficult going back up depending on how far you go down, but there's also a creek at the bottom. And it's a nice place to take dogs. And
there's another park too that's kind of by this mill and a creek. I forget what it's called.
Mill Creek.
Oh, Mill Creek. Yeah. What do you think of that one?
That one's nice too. It's a little bit smaller. It's also got the creek on the side if your dog likes to play in the water. I'm pretty sure it is off leash. You can take your dog off leash, and it's all fenced in. But yeah, those are just two of the main places that are good.
And is there like a trail in Ballackinwood that you can use?
The Kinwood Trail.
Okay.
That's a long one. It can take you all the way from the CVS on Rock Hill to Manayunk even. If you'd like to go to Manayunk, that's a good couple miles for a nice walk. But yeah, that's the places around here that's you could take. All right,
now what do dogs do when you take them places?
So they like to go to the bathroom.
Okay.
You know, so I'm wondering what's the best way to get rid of dog duty.
Yeah. Well, thank you for bringing that here. That's great. Yeah, I mean, this is...
it's some chances. I thought I'd bring it from home.
Yeah, here we go. That's not what you do with dog duty. So what you want to do is put it in a bag like that, but then put it in your regular trash bag so that it goes out with regular trash. Don't just throw it in the trash can. Put it inside a regular trash bag. Okay. Also, do not throw it down the sewers. If you go by a lot of the sewers in Lower Merion, it was a resident initiative. They have these little stickers that show fish on the top of the sewers because those sewers drain into creeks and other areas. So the dog poo can be very harmful to fish and other kind of sea life and other animals. So, right, the main thing, put it in a little bag like that, and then don't walk to your commissioner's house and throw it in your commissioner's trash can, as I think some people have done to our house. Put it in your own trash can, and then it'll get picked up on trash day.
Yeah. So, I guess, does Mom put our Chance's poop bags into
I know.
bag?
You'd have to ask her. Mother can be very difficult at times. I don't know.
Okay, just making sure we're taking care of the duty
critical. We have a duty to get rid of duty.
Yes. Okay. So if I ever see a bank robbery in progress, should I tag my commissioners on Facebook or use the LM Report app?
Okay. If you see a felony in progress, dial 911. That's an emergency.
Yeah.
Don't tag your commissioner on Facebook. Don't use the LM Reported app. That's not what that really is meant for. So, but for non-emergency situations, you can use the LM Reported app. Okay, and that's an app, and that basically communicates with the township. So it's a nice, convenient way to report issues. So that could be an abandoned vehicle, street lights out, excessive trash on a property, high grass, things like that. But again, public emergency. Don't tag your commissioner on Facebook and say, "Hey, I see somebody robbing a bank. Do something." Mm-hmm. Call 911, and that way the police get as much notice as possible to try to stop the robbery.
Yeah, I'm not sure you'd be able to stop much at robbery.
I
don't
know how to make toast, right? So yeah,
Yeah. Okay. All right. How has Public Works maintained service throughout COVID? COVID's going crazy.
It's been difficult, but this is something that is a testament to the Public Works staff members, and staff has done a fantastic job of maintaining services. In some other municipalities, in Philadelphia too, trash piled up at times, and that was typically because of staffing issues.
Yeah.
Lower Merion has been able to keep the trash removed regularly. You didn't see the trash piled up, and that was done because Township staff did a fantastic job in the Public Works Division of making sure that we maintained staffing. Sometimes they had to switch Public Works employees over from one job to another. So somebody who was maybe in charge of streetlights was pulling trash another day. And that was really, they were team players, team effort. But that was done because it's a potentially a health emergency if you leave trash on the street for too long. And so we were able to, throughout the pandemic, knock on wood, I don't know, maybe not, able to routinely get rid of the trash, and so far so good on that end.
Yeah, I don't remember the trash ever building up too bad in COVID.
Not that you would be paying attention anyway, but yeah.
Pretty sure they stayed on it.
Yeah.
All right, so I've been secretly storing a large collection of propane tanks in our attic. What would you say the best way to get rid of them would be?
All right, that's very alarming to hear that. Propane is not municipal waste. It's very dangerous. It won't be accepted for Household Hazardous Waste Day, which I discussed earlier. It doesn't even get accepted for that. So you really need to discard that with a registered propane dealer and pay a fee. And to the extent you're accumulating more and more propane tanks, I would say to please stop doing that, because that could become a highly dangerous issue.
It's just one of my hobbies.
Yeah. It's a highly dangerous hobby. But.
Yeah. No one's got to know.
All right.
So, how does Public Works assist with traffic calming?
Oh, excellent question. Glad you asked that. So traffic calming really starts with the Traffic Safety Division in the Lower Merion Police Department. There's an officer, Charlie Farrell, who's one of the individuals in that.
It's my favorite.
Your best softball coach?
Yeah.
Officer Sullivan's one of the other ones, and Sergeant Ruggiero has been in charge of that. But they work with residents and the Board of Commissioners to basically see if you can qualify for some kind of traffic calming on the street. They'll test it, they'll look at a crash history, they'll look at the speed, and then determine if something should be implemented on the street. That could include rumble strips, which make noise, kind of slow down cars, speed humps and speed bumps. Occasionally can be stop signs, although stop signs actually aren't that effective in reducing speeding. They're there to really help primarily intersectional awareness and prevent accidents at intersections. Where Public Works comes in is somebody then has to go and put the stuff in the ground. So if there's a rumble strip, Public Works has to go put in the rumble strip. If there's speed bumps, speed humps, Public Works gets involved there. They're designed and then they're laid out, and they have to go and put everything in.
That's good. Good for safety.
Making
sure no one's going too crazy on the road.
Indeed.
Well, that's a wrap for this episode of the Public Works Pipeline. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and stay classy, LM.